Hey guys, welcome to Judge Jodi, Paxton Road's Premier League Player Ratings show. Guys, I have a very special JJ tonight. I'm back with the one and only Paxton's own Sam Spurs for life. Welcome back, welcome back. How you doing? Welcome back to the courtroom. It's been a while.
It's been a little while. I got so excited. I've obviously in the background I was saying, "Oh, coming on, we've had a win." It felt like a win, but we didn't actually win. It was
It
a
was a
draw.
win. We can
So
take
I'm
it
not
as a win.
I'm not going to gas too much, but yeah, I'm happy to be back on and let's do this ratings.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one, I think. Overall thoughts on the match yesterday? I mean, obviously you thought we won, so
That's how good it was. To be honest, it was a fairly even first half. They had their chances. They put it on us for the first 20 minutes or so. But as I said, we come back into it the last 50 minutes, probably the half. Deserved the equaliser. The second half, I thought we was better team. I thought we was better team. I think we had the
yeah.
better chances, even though it was fairly even in terms of chances. But yeah, I think had we come away with a victory, I don't think anybody could have complained.
No. Do you think Ange had a bit of something to say at halftime, maybe, for us to come out? What did you think about? Because I was thinking they looked a bit nervy in the first half, our team.
Y-
Um,
Yeah, I think from some of the stats, there was only two players that played in the last away game to Arsenal in the last season of the starting 11
yeah,
that we had. So,
first North London
that's
derby for loads of them, wasn't
for
it?
for loads of them and a
Yeah,
lot of young players in there. So I'd expect there would always going to be nerves. But what Ange has instilled into them is confidence, his belief to be able to play the way we play, regardless of what happens.
yeah,
You've seen that in the likes of James Maddison, and we'll probably get into that later on. But yeah, players getting in positions, maybe giving the ball away, but still able to keep playing and not go into their shell and retreat. And if that was Conte, you would have probably seen him barking at
mm,
people and people being scared to express themselves.
yeah. 100% agree with that. I think, yeah, I'm just so happy we got the point. I think going into it, I was happy with the point. I didn't care. Saturday, I was pretty calm actually for a North London derby. I was like, oh, this is fine. Like we'll be fine. And then it got to Sunday. I was like, I was so nervous on Sunday morning. I was, oh my god, this is going to be bad. I just didn't want Arsenal to like really thrash us. I just didn't
Yeah,
want them to like do us over like 6-0 or
yeah.
something. And I knew that wouldn't happen, but
I knew that wouldn't happen. No,
always
no.
the worry, isn't it?
It's always the thing with those. Obviously, look back at the history. There's been very few, well, in my memory, where a team's been thrashed like,
Yeah,
depending on who you call thrash, and 3-1 last season to them is not good, but like a 5-0 or a 6, like an 8-2 that they got from
mm,
Manchester United, things like that. We ain't gonna have that. But what I was really pleased with was the fact that we went a goal down twice, and
yeah,
didn't look like we backed off. And then I was watching some of the AFTV. Each goal that went in, even if Arsenal scored, we played as well as we could. We
yeah.
still took it to them. So yeah,
The
I'm liking
mentality
this.
was back. The mentality was there.
I'm
We
liking it.
didn't
Yeah,
give up. We kept pushing. And
100%.
it was a good one. All right, shall we get into it? As always, guys, before we get into it, if you can please like the show and subscribe to Paxton Road TV and PRTV as well, if you can. It's a new channel that we're streaming to, and yeah, we really appreciate you guys sort of helping us out with regards to that one. And if you can also please put your ratings in the chat as well. Sam and I'll do a really good job of trying to bring those up, and we want to hear what you guys have to say. So, what we're going to do, Sam, we are going to get into the ratings. We're going to start off with Vicario, as always, and let's see how different we are today. Let's see. 'Cause there was a few
Yeah,
things in there when you sent those over to me. I was like,
yeah,
"Mm."
I know that.
So
I
we'll
made
see
one mistake,
how we
but
go.
yeah, I corrected that. I corrected that.
All right. So we're saying about Vicario. Oh, we're matching. Fine, fine. What do you want to say
Yeah.
about him?
As I said, I think he's improved each and every game. I like the fact that he's very commanding at the back with the players in terms of the defense. It's very settled back five now, if you want to call it that. Hopefully, that should be the case. Um, didn't have to do loads, but what he had to do made the save. I think he made that save from Saka in the second half at least,
Yeah.
which kept them at bay. First half, they huffed and puffed, but apart from I guess that Jesus chance, which is really clear cut, you
Mm.
didn't have. do that much in terms of making loads of saves, but it's still really good. I like him as a keeper.
No, I agree. I think, like you say, there weren't many saves he had to make, but they were good ones. I think like two of them were quite early in the game, weren't they? I think
Hmm.
not between each and obviously the two goals that we conceded, nothing that really he could have done. The penalty,
Nah,
right, there's
nah.
nothing to do with that. But like you, I'm just so impressed. Like every week, I think he just continues to shine, like week in, week out, and I'm just so confident, like that we have him.
Yeah,
And I'm so happy that we've got him. So yeah, I think from my perspective, an 8, just because like without those two, without the own goal and the red card, it would have been a clean sheet potentially.
yeah.
So yeah, I think it was a
Well,
good.
you can see the difference. Keepers, it's a difficult position to kind of bed in. You don't really want your keeper to have too much bedding in time because
Yeah,
ultimately, if he makes a mistake, it's probably going to lead to a goal. So you don't need a keeper to be or similar to Onana at Manchester United. He looks
no,
like he's still in his bedding in period, and it ain't going as great as it probably should be. So I'm happy that we've got a keeper that's confident and is increasing in confidence each time.
yeah, same. What do you think about Nketiah's challenge at the end there? Do you think it was a red?
So they talk about intent
Mm,
and being out of control, both of which I believe he was. It looked like the intent
yeah,
was there to make a challenge. You don't make a challenge like that on a keeper studs up, flying in unless
it's
you
dangerous, man. It's
it's
really
dangerous.
dangerous. Yeah,
I thought, like I said, had his leg been 6 inches further forward, that could have been a very serious injury.
yeah, I
But
agree.
yeah, he didn't touch him and he got a yellow card, but I think it could have been worse.
Yeah, I think it probably could have been a red, to be honest, but
Yeah,
here we are. Got VAR messing up all over the place. So anyway, let's
yeah,
move on
we'll talk
then.
about that.
Pedro Porro matching again, matching again. I think another really good defensive game from him. I'm a bit worried my Emerson's not going to get a run in this season. But yeah, Porro was fabulous. I think he was popping up to drive us forward when he needed to, and like keeping out most of what came down his way. And I think he and Kulu were working really well down on the right hand side together
Yeah,
yesterday. Um,
100%. I agree.
Anything more you want to say about
Yeah,
Porro?
Porro was up against Gabriel Jesus most of the time, but obviously with the way that they play, being infield is inverted as they like to call it now. He's having to recover more quickly. And I
Yeah.
think a couple of times in the past he's been caught out of position. I think he played pretty well positionally wise this time. And like you said, I think they worked well on that right hand side with Kulu because he did come back, track back, and helped out. So yeah,
Mhm.
I'm happy with the 7. Porro is definitely a player that I'd want in the team over Emerson. He's got much more technical ability.
Yeah, fine. He's growing on me.
Oh, you wasn't a big Porro fan before, no?
Oh, I was Emerson. I jumped on the
Oh
Emerson
yeah,
bandwagon the
you
end
liked
of last
Emerson.
season, and yeah, now he's not getting a look in anymore, is he? But no, Porro's doing
I,
really well actually.
I,
Every
I'm not.
game.
I'm not
I'm
too unhappy about that. I'm not too unhappy about
Fine. All right. I think this next
that.
one is going to cause a little bit of controversy. So let's bring this bad boy up, shall we? Christian Romero.
Wow.
I know the shade, right? The shade.
That, that, that's that's
Look,
dusty.
look,
That's dusty,
look.
man. What do you explain? Don't ask me no questions. I'm gonna ask you questions. What have you given Emerson Romero a 6 for? Please explain.
Look, look, defensively, doing his job, what he should have been doing yesterday. Like he had 6 clearances, he was keeping balls out, he was bossing it up like Romero does. Trust me. Like I think defensively, and I think doing what he should be doing in his role yesterday, definitely deserved more of an 8. I just think the two unnecessary mistakes, not that they were all his fault. I'm not going to come out and say that it was anything, that Romero potentially um, could have done towards those things. But I think, unfortunately, those two errors, which were off the back of Romero moves, did gift Arsenal their 2 goals. I think the own goal, potentially, there was more at fault there with regards to, I think, Udogi and Johnson, I think, should have helped out more with regards. I think that actually was more on Udogie and Johnson for not marking Saka down when that happened. And I think Romero was in the wrong place for that to kind of go in, but it did go in off his foot. And then I think so the penalty, he did have it was a handball, but then like if you rewind that, what happened about that foul on Madison as well. I think, I mean, this is something on VAR that definitely we need to talk about when we get into something else a bit later in the show. But yeah, I think it was definitely a handball, but the fact that the Madison challenge wasn't picked up before that, I think was definitely did Romero dirty there. So I'm not saying that it was a 6 performance from Romero. I'm just saying that unfortunately for him, that's kind of how it led from my perspective. But what do you have to say about that?
So you score your things based on the fact that they scored, but it was his own goal. It wasn't his fault for the penalty, but you're going to give him a 6. That's cold. That's cold, fam.
If those two goals hadn't got in, we could have got a clean sheet.
Fam, let me explain. Okay, I'm not gonna, because obviously it's opinion.
We could have won the game.
No, I appreciate that. From what the first thing is with the goal, there was a lot of stuff happened before. I personally believe it could have been cut out. We all know what Saka does. He always likes to cut in. Udogie in that first half did have a bit of a mare of a game. Got better as the half went on. There was a couple of things. He come inside. Van der Ven also could have helped out. But what I'm going to give Romero credit for, not credit, probably the wrong phrase. It wasn't his fault in terms of not having to make a touch, because the deflection, if you watch back the goal, there were 2 players to the right of him. So basically, as he's facing this way where the ball's coming from, I think it was Gabriel Jesus and also Nketiah who would have made a touch had he not touched the ball. So one way or the other, he's going to have to do something. He took responsibility. It went in. It happened. The penalty, and Postecoglou said it best. I don't have a clue now. I don't have a clue.
Nobody knows handballs, right?
You cannot give well, in my opinion, you can't give penalties for that, because then every single time it hits your hand, if that's what they're saying, it hits your hand, you're going to get players aiming for that. And players of this ability can do that. So I don't know. I have no idea. But I don't put him at fault for any of the goals. It's unfortunate. Yeah, he did get the own goal. So I took him down from a 9 to an 8.
Yeah, Sam gave him a 9, guys. Like when he said the ratings through to me, he gave him a 9. I'm like, what did he do to get a 9? Yeah, look, I could be a little harsh here, but I mean, I just think he does need to have something. I mean, the 6 is not a bad score, to be honest. 5 is a leveling out score. 6 is actually like quite good. So, David Clark, though, Sam. I don't know if you saw what David said, but Romero's getting a 3 from David. Not all about his own goal and handball, but he was too slow from the start, kept the ball for too long, putting us in trouble at the back. So, hey, I'm not the harshest one in this courtroom right now.
No, but I completely disagree with that comment. But that's fine, because everybody's welcome to their opinions.
They are. All right, let's move on from this before I get too much heat. Mickey Van de Ven, a 9 and an 8.5. Yeah, I mean, what a defender, right? I think he was playing outstandingly yesterday. I think there was that amazing tackle on Nketiah, I think very early in the match, which stood out for me. And I think he was just defending like a boss, like pretty much all over that game. His speed, like, we have to go back to that time and time again, like how quickly he can get back. He just keeps getting better and better. Like every single game I watch him, I just think, what did we do without him on the left-hand side? So, yeah, what do you reckon? 9? Yeah. I'm assuming he very much impressed you yesterday.
Yeah, he's been pretty much since day dot been consistent. He had a slight wobble in that first game. I remember him playing. He doesn't really give the ball away that much. He's always positionally right. If you think about how we play, as I said, you're going to get sometimes him isolated against their wide players, which was Saka at the time, because, as I said, Udogie sometimes has to be infield and can't always recover. And I saw a couple of times where Saka, who's no slouch, weren't beating him for pace.
No.
I don't recall him getting in behind him on 1v1s. And I don't recall a lot of players getting in behind him 1v1s, which is good signs, because, as I said, we're going to have a lot of that next week when we play Liverpool. But I think he's been probably our most consistent defender so far.
Yeah, 100%. David Clark 9.5. He made one error slicing the ball for a corner. Other than that, yeah, I think that was early in the match, wasn't it? But perfect man of the match. Yeah, I think definitely there are a couple of contenders for that yesterday. Let's move to Doggy 7 and 6.5. Look, what I can say is well done for keeping your calm, Destiny. Keeping your head after picking up that yellow so early in the match and continuing to play on, without any issues throughout the game. I think it just shows how mature he is, and I think others could have really easily gotten rattled. So it does show that he's got a really cool head on him, and just shows, like, for his age, how mature, he is, especially up against Saka. Like, those two were really on each other, like, all day yesterday. I think he had a couple of slip-ups, though. I think he slipped up slightly with that back pass, I think, towards Arsenal's goal, which thankfully it was saved by Vicario, which was early on in the game. And then I think that maybe for the own goal, I think he let Saka cut in on his left, and I think everybody should know that Saka's just dangerous when he cuts in on his left like that. And I don't know if he and Johnson were really communicating well enough in that point in time. So I just think I marked him down slightly just because of that. But then he helped to win the ball back in the lead up to our first goal as well. So, he had a pretty well-rounded game, I'd say.
Okay.
What do you
Yeah,
reckon?
7. The reason I gave him a 7, he did start off shakily. Now, what I will say is that he made his debut in this game. He's 20 years of age. He has been, again, probably after Van de Ven, the second most consistent defender that we've had. He's having to play up against Saka. Some may say that Saka is world class or approaching world class, or certainly at least top international level. He doesn't really, get the credit he deserves. I think Saka, in some senses, he's a very good player. He's up against a player that's first time in the league, first North London derby, and yes, he's going to have nerves. And yes, he did have a couple of moments where it was shaky. He got a yellow card very early on. The fact that he played through that whole of that 90 minutes,
Yeah, I
100
think
minutes,
well done. Like, that was class
with a
from him.
yellow card, up against one of the best players in the league in terms of his position. And I
100%.
don't recall too many times when Saka actually done him for pace. I don't recall that, to
No,
be honest.
that was a
So
very good matchup, really.
again, if you're looking at that from a defensive point of view, Saka didn't score the first goal. It was an own goal, and the second was a penalty. So he didn't have any look-ins, and there was one save that was made in the second half, as I said, by Vicario. Apart from that, I don't remember Saka doing that much. That's my personal opinion.
No,
Very good player is that guy.
he's really good. Like, we've been so lucky. We've been so lucky with our signings. Like, I couldn't wait for this guy to come in as well. Like, but he's outshone, and I knew he's going to be good, but like, mate, he is phenomenal. He has outshone what I thought he was going to be like. But let's move to Basuma. 8 and 7.5. I think this was another bit of a rounded one from my perspective. I don't know about you, but I think the first half, Basuma looked kind of sluggish. It wasn't just him. I think there are others as well. I think a lot of them seem to be just kind of standing around, not really able to kind of control Arsenal's press. I just think they were shell shocked, I think, at times. And I think Basuma was kind of forming part of that. But I think second half he came out and he shone really brightly. I think his defending was brilliant in that second half. I think the yellow for me was a bit of a silly one, though, just because in a game like the North London Derby, and you're trying not to pick up yellows and, like, obviously get players sent off, for arguing with the ref to pick up a yellow like that when we know that the refs are, like, hot on just those unnecessary yellows, I think was just a little bit unnecessary for me. So maybe I think that's why I slightly marked him down. But yeah, I think it was another really good game and another really, really important player that we have. So
I've got more time for this player than most players at Spurs. I think his talent levels are sky high. I think he can get better. But like with any player, if you put under extreme pressure, which Arsenal did in that first 20 minutes, Odegaard was running around like a madman. Jesus is running around like a madman, as you saw when he got that ball off Maddison. So players are going to be put under pressure. Again, what I'll go back to, Arsenal are playing at home. I expect them to have a lot of the ball, which they didn't in the end, if you go by the stats and possession. But what I do expect them to do is to be hyped up by their crowd. They expected to come in and wipe the floor with us. These players had to go through a lot of pressure in terms of that whole North London derby, first of Postecoglou's era, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah. So there's a lot of things to
yeah,
take in. And
yeah.
he again got better as the game went along. By the
He
second
did.
half, he was
Yeah,
turning players for fun. And they
yeah.
all said it. I've watched AFT TV quite a lot. They like this player. They would have loved to have him at Arsenal. And as I said, if we can keep this guy, sky's the limit in terms of his ability.
100%. I'm just so happy we've got this version of Basuma now. Like, it's just, last season was so disheartening. Like, firstly, not to really see him get a start, and then when he was like starting games, just the way that he wasn't being utilized properly. So I'm
I
just so
agree.
like happy we've got him, and he's so important for us. And then imagine when Bentancur comes back as well. Like, it's just going to be, our midfield is just going to be saucy. All right, let's move to Pat Matasar, 7 and a 7. Oh, I found this one a bit hard to rate. I think he was busy. He was busy. Like, he's always so busy. Like, in these games, he's like always trying to like go in on goal. Like, I think there were a couple of times where I felt he was maybe just hoofing the ball a little bit. I think the ball ended up going the wrong way at one time. Um, I don't know. I think again the first half he was nervy. Definitely, he's one of the ones that obviously hasn't been in a North London derby before, and I think must have probably been quite an event for him.
I think he played the last one. I think he played at Arsenal in the. I think at Highbury. I think he did play.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm not sure if he came on as sub started, but I do recall him being in that game.
Okay. Well, maybe not the first one, but I think just still the nerves, right? Like, he's still quite
Yeah,
a young kid, and but I think he picked it up in the second half as well. And I think there was some great sort of defending moments for him in the second half, and he was like helping to clear the ball out for us really well. So yeah, I think another really, like, I love this guy. Like, I think he's so energetic. Like, he always is just wanting to come through on goal and just to kind of help the team out wherever he can. And yeah, I just think it was a bit of an all over game for him as well.
yeah,
What do you reckon?
yeah. He's got legs. He's. I don't mean in the
He's
sense
got
of
he
that
does have
type.
legs.
You know what I mean? He's obviously got legs. But what I mean
Spider
by that is he can get around the pitch. That's the reason. One of the reasons what makes him a pretty much a almost like a shoe-in for our team currently is because he can do the box to box. He can recover. He's 20 years of age. He's got energy to burn. He's got ability as well. He's technically very good. Yes, I think he suffered a bit with nerves, as did quite a few of our players in that first 20 minutes, probably the first half of the game. But again, I don't recall their midfield running through us. I don't recall it. So if
no.
that's the case, Maddison, Basuma, and Sarr all did what they were supposed to do, and they
Yeah.
controlled that midfield. And if you're controlling the midfield at Highbury against them lot, what else can you
What more
do?
can you ask
As I
for?
said,
Yeah, I
you
agree.
can't ask for any more from a midfielder. As I said, what I think he needs to add to his game potentially later on down the line, or even this season, whatever it's going to be, is goals and assists. But I've
Yeah.
seen him do that. He's already assisted
Yeah.
James Maddison for a goal, and I
Yeah.
think he's got that in him.
Yeah.
In oodles.
He does. He does. And he's just always up for it. So yeah, no, I really, really like him. Much better midfield this season, Sam. All right. James Madison. This guy. I mean, yeah, I don't know really what more we can say. I think there was a moment towards the first half, I think, where he got caught out by Jesus, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, it didn't seem like there was enough urgency maybe for him, but I mean, I think that was kind of the only moment sort of that wasn't amazing from him in yesterday's game. I think the second half he definitely picked it up, and um, his assist for Son, like, both of them were just crazy. Like, that little spin he did to pass the ball to Son, I think, for the first goal was just magnificent. It was a pure classic Madison move. Just helping out creatively as he does in the middle. Like, I just feel so safe with him. Feel so safe with him in the team. So yeah, he's got a 9 from my perspective. What about you?
Same 9, obviously, is it shown on the screen. My man of the match, I think he was the man of the match on Sky as well.
Yeah,
From what I recall, I didn't
he
get to see all
was.
the end bits. Um, he made one mistake pretty much in that game, and that was
Yeah,
the mistake for Jesus. He came out and admitted to himself, or admitted to the Spurs reporter at the end of the game. He said, "It's the pace of the game. It was the pace of
mm,
North London derby. You know, those expectations is a little bit more. There's going to be a little bit more urgency from Arsenal to make
yeah,
that." So he admitted himself. He just dwelled on the ball too long. Didn't make that mistake again, and he
yeah.
said he's not going to do that again.
And he did it. Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
he got 2 assists. And if you're looking at, there was this Odegaard versus Madison debate, probably a lot of people talking about, well, there was only one winner. There was only one winner in that game,
Hmm.
and anybody that tells me that Odegaard, or because he got his yellow card, well, we had loads of players on yellow cards and they still performed. So
Yeah,
stuff that.
yeah. No, I definitely agree. No, he's amazing. Like, just another player that we're just so lucky. Like this season just seems to be going too well for us so far. I
There
don't know
was
if
that
you
injury scare
have.
that he had, and like I
True.
said,
Do we
because
have any
that
updates on
jar,
it at all?
no, and it's one of them funny ones because you can still come off and walk quite normally with a slight tweak to your ACL or
Mm.
MCL. So whether or not he's had it checked out, because when I saw he was doing this interview with the Spurs guy afterwards, he said, "No, I haven't even seen the physio yet. I've been doing half an hour's worth of media stuff." So I want him to get that checked out because it
Yeah.
could still be a little bit of a problem.
Mhm.
Hopefully not, because he seemed in good spirits. But I've seen that before. Players go, "Oh, it's fine." Next week,
It's the
they've got an
adrenaline
ACL
as
or
well, isn't it?
MCL,
Yeah.
exactly, and then
Yeah.
they're out for 6 to 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever it will be. So I'm just,
We can't
you know,
afford that. There's no way. We
we can't. So,
cannot afford to have this guy
but I
out for
think he's okay. From what I've not heard anything today, so fingers crossed.
cool. All right, come on, matters, please. Dejan Kulisevsky, 7 and 8. I was actually pretty impressed with Decky yesterday.
Hmm.
I think he was involved in a lot of the action. I think he was winning the ball back really well for us. I think there was some really good moments. I think in the first part of the game where I think he did really well to break through from the press and I think bring the ball back into the play for Spurs. And I think he was just continuously from what I could gather and what I could see was like trying to just keep winning the ball back for us. But then there wasn't really anybody available or around for him to pass it to.
Hmm.
I think his passing was actually really good yesterday as well. Um, but yeah, I think, as I said before as well, I think he was working really well with Porro down the right hand side. And yeah, I think obviously he didn't get involved in any, assists or goals or anything like that yesterday. But I actually think it was a really good game from him. What was that? 3 key passes as well that he made. Yeah. So no, I think it was a great game from my perspective. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. Again, I think he kind of goes under the radar in terms of what he does. I know his work rate is very, very high. I personally want to see a bit more from him. I think he's another player that has that ability. I want to see him do a little bit more of what you see Saka doing, cut inside, curling that ball into the top corner, bottom corner, whatever it is. I think he needs a few more
Yeah,
goals this season.
he needs his confidence up a bit more, I think, as well
Yeah,
at times.
I think he's been instilled with confidence. I just, you know what it is. I just think he just needs that. He needs that game where you just, like Son had when he got that hat trick. Son was playing
Mhm.
not very well for most of the season, and then Son got that hat trick, and we've seen what
Yeah,
he's been doing now. So again, a player like this gets a brace, a couple of goals and assists, whatever it is. I think he will increase in confidence because the manager instills confidence, and the
yeah,
fact that he's been playing as the first choice, even though, in my opinion, I don't think he's been at his best,
mm,
shows a lot that he must be doing something right, that the manager still wants to play him in that position. I think he's got that ability. Also, the other thing is, in game, as we seen when we played Sheffield United, he can be morphed into more of that number 10
yeah,
midfield type
yeah.
player.
He
And
played
that's an
really well
important,
there.
yeah, that's an
Yeah,
important thing to have if you need to get a balance in your team where you want to bring somebody on but keep your attacking threat in there. He can
mhm,
play right back, he can play wing back. So there's a lot about him that I like because
yeah,
of that versatility.
yeah. No, I agree. Do you think, David's saying that he hasn't hit the heights that he did 2 years ago, 2
Yeah.
seasons ago, sorry. Do we think we've seen his ceiling now? Like,
No,
do we
no,
think
I don't think we've seen his ceiling, but what it's going to take some getting used to. If you think about it, he's seen what 3 managers in the time that he's been here.
Exactly, and he's young
You
too.
know,
Like he doesn't look young, but
yeah,
this guy's still kind of young, and he's still got a lot. He's he's going to be inconsistent, I think, as well.
definitely. What is he?
So
20? He
22
22?
maybe. I
Yeah,
feel
he's a
something like
young
that.
player still.
Yeah.
I know I say relatively young because young for me is now 16, 17. Those are 18. When you get to 20s, I think I don't want to class players as young because, as I said, we've got plenty of players under 22 in our team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think he's reached his potential. But what I think we might see, depending on players' availability, is he might get a role more infield, depending on what happens in game. Because I think he has got that ability to do that. And then we might see like a Solomon and Brennan Johnson on either wings. Possibly, depending on what happens, we could see Kula playing in a number 10 alongside Manson. I don't know. I'm just giving things out there from what I can
Yeah.
actually
Well, that's the
gather
thing.
by the
We've
players'
got
ability.
versatility, don't we? And we've got options,
100%.
which is good. So,
Yeah.
no, I agree. Nice one,
Excuse me.
Dickie. All right, let's move to Brennan. Brennan Johnson, 7 and 7. I was happy to see him get a start. Were you happy to see him get a start, or what was your original opinion or thoughts? Saw him on the starter.
Surprised. I was surprised initially, but then I got convinced by Pipes in our group chat saying, "Yeah, start him. He's got the pace. He's got." And I actually thought about it. Yeah, Arsenal obviously know about Brennan Johnson, but they don't know about him in the capacity playing for us. He could have been popped up on the left. He could have popped up on the right. We don't know what Arsenal thought they were going to see from him when they got the team sheet out. He started off obviously on that left hand side, and I think as North London derby debuts go, I think he was a threat. I think he definitely posed a threat with his pace.
Yeah,
And he's going to take a little bit of time. It's second game.
it's very
Do
early,
you know
isn't
what I
it?
mean?
Yeah,
Second
yeah.
game. And he's another one. What is he? 20, 22, 21? I don't know.
He looks
He's a
young.
young.
I don't
He
know.
looks like he's about 17. I thought, how old is this geezer? But no, that's that. We got to look at those are our positives. All these
Yeah,
players are playing
yeah.
big time Charlie games and they're young relatively.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I agree.
I
Yeah.
can't wait. I can't
No,
wait to
me
see how
too.
he performs and
I
progresses
think
in
he's
this
gonna
team.
do really well. Like, I think he was super busy. He's another one that was super busy yesterday. Like, he had some, he had what, 3 was it 3 attempts, 2 of them on
Mhm.
target. I think the communication thing with Udogie, I think for that own goal, I think I keep going back to that, but like we've got to remember that this is what his second game, like you said. So they've got to work on their communication together. I think this team, obviously, they haven't worked together for long. And I think they just maybe need to do a little bit more of that potentially. But yeah, I
His
think
pace. Sorry, go on.
no, I was just gonna say I think he did like for what it was and the intensity of the game. I think he like it was a pretty solid performance from him to start him
Yeah,
in that.
and I think there's a lot more to come from him. Again, you're very, very, very lucky if you get a player that just comes from somebody else, some of the other club, and just slots straight in. It's even more difficult when you come from abroad. He's obviously played in the Premier League before, so he can kind of, we can kind of take that out of it. But he's still got to get used to how we play.
Mm,
Nottingham Forest is a completely different animal to Tottenham Hotspur. Different
yeah,
styles of
and the
football.
North London derby is a completely different animal to like stuff he's been used to
100%. And
as
you're
well.
making your debut in that, and you're expected to perform at the level that we need him to perform because Arsenal, second best team in England, after Manchester City. Regardless of what their position is now, they came second last season.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear nothing about their bloody injuries because that's what they're trying to say now. Well, you are is this
That
that
was just a joke, though.
stuff
I
that, man.
mean, like, you guys weren't saying that before the game, were you? Where were you? Where were these comments about injuries before we went into
These
into
these
the
mans were telling me they were gonna smoke us.
yeah,
We were gonna be lucky
right?
if we So I want to see where the smoke is because that smoke
Mhm.
ain't no fire. Ain't no fire.
Nah,
Ain't
nah,
no
nah,
fire.
nah,
No
nah,
smoke.
nah, nah. I agree. All right, well done, Brennan. And then we are to Son. Ah, Son. Nine's all round. I think, yeah, like where do we start? I think in the first half there were a couple of disappointing efforts maybe from my perspective. I think maybe he just didn't believe in himself and didn't take the chance properly. But then, you know, the second half and well, the end of the first half, that first goal, like that was just that was just proper cold. Like that was proper funny, cold blooded, right? Like, um, I think Arsenal weren't even done with their celebrations yet, and then we'd like come around and we'd score that goal. Like it was amazing. I think both goals for him were proper Sonny goals, and like it's just really nice to see that he can pop back up with those really nasty, like clinical shots that he can do. um, yeah, I just was so happy with him. I think the toss up between him and Madison for man of the match for me. I think both of them performed, you know, really, really well towards the end of that first half and in the second half, just to come around and take the game like that. So, yeah, 9 for me.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to just go anything other than the 9 for him. I thought he was brilliant. We've all kind of wanted to get Son back. You know, we know the Son that has been 2 seasons ago. Last season was his best season. Again, there was problems in the camp in terms of the manager that was there and also his own fitness. But again, since he's got that hat trick, I think he's just been playing, improving. He's playing in terms of that captain's performance. He said he doesn't lead by shouting and screaming. He tries to lead by example. But you can see all the players respect him. The manager highly respects him. And if you've got that and you've got him doing what he's doing now, scoring a brace, scoring a hat trick a couple games ago, you know, he's on what, 5 goals now?
Yeah, I
I think he'll score a lot more. I think he'll score a lot
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
So I'm happy with Son. I've been on his case because I expect a lot from him.
yeah,
But now I've kind of seen how we're morphing into a team where he's going to be that central player. So
yeah.
Richarlison may have to hold bench.
No, I agree, and I'm happy about that. I think we've unlocked Saki again, and it's just I think it's the captaincy thing as well for me. Like a lot of people are saying, David, you're saying it as well. Like it's not just what he's doing on the pitch; it's what he's doing off the pitch, and like just bringing the whole squad together and the harmony within the squad, and just the way that the whole team are performing because of. And I can just tell like what he's like off. Like just generally every day with the squad. Like I can just tell like what he's like with those guys. So I love it. It's amazing. Well done,
Yeah,
son.
well
Thanks
done,
for
Son.
I was about to say thanks for winning the game for us. See, now I'm doing
Yeah,
it.
that vibe was me, man, because it felt nice for
It
them to
felt
be
like a
shut
win.
up.
It felt like a
No,
win.
just
All
shutting
right.
them up. That's all it was.
Yeah, right.
Shut their mans up.
Anything you want to say about these guys? I'm not gonna give them ratings unless you want to, but anything?
Kind of. Yeah. I think Solomon was a bit of a problem when he came on. I think he
Mm,
caused. I think
yeah,
he has that ability about him to cause problems. I just don't want him to become that. As I keep saying, I've said it before. Lucas Moore with hair. I don't want him to be Lucas Moore with hair. I want him to be a bit more about him than that. And I think he has. And he said he's got those couple of assists in the game where someone got his hat trick. I think Hotspur has taken
he's
his
been doing
role now
well coming off
because
the
he
bench.
understands his role. I think what's
Yeah.
happened is there's this: was he going to stay? Was he going to leave? I think he probably thought, well, I should be in this team. I should be starting. But now I think
Mhm.
when the manager has good man management skills and can talk to players and say, listen, I need you. You're important, but you know we've got players who Basuma, Madison. So
Mhm.
you got to get past them.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? You got to get past
yeah.
them to get into this team. And there's not many players in world football that's, in my opinion, again, better than Basuma and Madison in their positions, in my opinion, but that's just me. So I think it's going to be hard for him to do that. But what he has been able to do is come on and be that calming influence, be that, you know, that professional, that player who's got that, you know, experience. And I think he did that kind of like flick over of, is it Havertz? Flicked over the top of him like, what? Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? So he's got
yeah,
ability. He's got ability. It's
yeah,
just, you know, you just got to
yeah,
understand his role.
yeah. No, I agree. And just bringing
Richarlison,
that maturity on the pitch as well, I think.
yeah,
Like, oh.
Richarlison,
Mm.
uh,
Mm,
yeah, Richarlison, in it. That's all I'll
in it.
say to that.
Yeah, I mean, did you think he brought a bit of energy on when we needed it, though? Or do you
He
know?
always does. He had the opportunity
Yeah,
again. He had the opportunity late on in the game
yeah. There were
where,
a couple of attempts there, I think, weren't there?
yeah, there's definitely more,
Um,
but that one stood out to me because that
just
would have won the
unlucky
game.
again.
Had he got that one,
Yeah,
that would have definitely won the game for us. And he did well last week. But had he got another goal this week, I think that would have just pushed him on again. That would have made him really start making the manager think,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But now I'm just of the opinion that he is going to be an impact sub. And if,
Mm,
yeah, you're going to bring him on to stretch defenses, that's what he's going to be down to do. He's 60 million pounds worth of
stop.
impact player at the moment.
Stop. Can we have a crime of the year with that actual fee that we paid for him? Yeah,
Not worse than Havertz though. That's a crime.
true. It's getting crazy, isn't it? Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know, Richie. I feel like I want him to do well, but it's just not working. It's just not working. um,
Again, I think he's another player because he's very emotional. He's I say
mm,
highly strung. I think he plays off that emotion. He also probably thinks, well, I'm Brazil's number 9, or at least in and around the Brazil team squad. Maybe I should be in this team, and maybe I should be playing. Harry Kane's left. Maybe I should be starting. But you got
mm,
to do it on the pitch.
you got to
You
show it.
have to do
Yeah,
it on the pitch.
exactly.
You have to get your chance, score a couple of goals if that's what it takes to make
Mm,
the manager start thinking again. But at the moment, I don't think there's much. Not to say that Postecoglou has to think about his team. Of course, he has to think about his team, but I don't think he's thinking about them. At least 2 of that front 3 at this present time, in my opinion. I think
mm.
definitely Son's always going to be starting. At
Son's
this
the
moment
main
in time, it
man.
looks like
Yeah,
Kulishevsky as well.
yeah. No, I agree. I agree. All right, let's move to crime of the week. What are we discussing this week? We are
Martin
discussing
Odegaard. Oh,
this
shit. And
guy.
him as well.
This
Oh, yeah.
guy, Formerson, he gets locked up. And then we have VAR. We have VAR as a nomination. There's probably loads of other things you guys want to start mentioning and throwing out names. I think Paul Merson obviously giving it the lead up to the North London derby, saying Spurs were going to massively struggle. We don't have good enough players to compete with Arsenal, blah, 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 blah.
That's a clown.
well, Paul, well.
What a clown. He's obviously not watched the game. He's not watched Spurs in any real capacity because there's nobody that to say what he said on Sky Sports. And I saw it, and at the time I was thinking,
Yeah.
is he just having a bit of a laugh? He said, "There's no
Mm,
chance." He used words like it's going to be embarrassing and stuff
mhm,
like that. They're going to get
yeah.
if they open up, it's going to be whatever it's going to be. It was never going to be like that. I could, and he should know because he knows football. But whether he's on the sauce because he don't drink anymore, but whether he had a bit of sauce before, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think these people just don't watch Spurs. I think they just don't understand how good we actually like some of these players actually
Oh, you
are.
won't be saying that again. You're
No, he
guaranteed
did
next
tweet.
week.
I don't know if you saw. He came out and said, and I quote, "To be fair, at no, what did he say? Fair play, Spurs. Credit where credit is due to come back twice." Hmm.
Is that it? Did you
That's all
not
he
go
said.
back on what he said
All
about
he said.
how they was going to play and all the rest of that
No, I
bullshit
don't
that he
think so. I
said?
think that's all
Yeah,
he
he's
said.
not because he knows.
To come out of
He's
his hole
Arsenal.
because
What do you
everybody
expect?
was
What do you expect? He's Arsenal.
everyone was giving him too much shit. Right, VAR as well. A lot of dodgy moments for VAR again, I think, and the refereeing in the game as always. It's just classic tale, really, time and time again. We've got the handball situation, obviously, not picking up that foul on Madison. We've got the foul on Vicario. We've got the Odegaard situation. What do we've got? How many things have we got to call out from a refereeing slash VAR perspective yesterday?
The-
So
Again, they don't want to cause too. They don't want to be the talking points, which they are, but they didn't want to be the talking points in a big game like this. So they have problems making decisions. It's like, "Oh, we're gonna have to make a decision here. What do we
but
do? What do
they're
we do?"
they're not mic'd up, are they? Like, this is the thing. Like, if they were like, and they can't mic them up because they don't know what they're doing.
Again, looking at that handball from Romero, if the rules state that if the ball hits your hand in any way, shape, or form, whether it's deliberate or not deliberate, it's a penalty. Everybody can get with that. It might mean a bit of gamesmanship and
Yeah,
gameplay from other players trying to get the handballs deliberately, but it's not. We don't know what it is. How close are you to the goal? Do you have to be 3 yards out? If you're 9 yards out, does it make a difference? Do you know if your hands was down here? I don't understand. How can that be
because
natural?
yeah,
No player that
yeah.
I know defends like that. If you're going to go in for a challenge, you have to do that. You've
Yeah,
got to
no,
have balance. They don't have a
no.
clue. They don't play football.
Yeah,
That's why they're
it's
referees.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous, I swear. Any other nominations that you got for Premier
Martin
League?
Odegaard. Martin Odegaard for pretending he's world class, pretending that he's a good player, that he's better. I had this conversation with a lot of people on bloody WhatsApp groups, and they're trying to tell me that Martin Odegaard was streets ahead
No.
of James
What?
Maddison.
What?
Streets? What street were you on, fam? What street
What?
were you on? You must have been on a cul-de-sac. You was on a cul-de-sac that come back around because he was not good after 20 minutes. He wasn't. He didn't do nothing in that game. Maddison got 2 assists. And what?
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
you go.
and what,
I'm done.
right? Exactly, 100%. What about, do we need to throw anybody in for the old forum situation that happened this week?
No, I'm still throwing more Arsenal people. I'm throwing Mikel Arteta in there. I'm throwing in there because he got too excitable on the line. Yeah. I'm getting all excited and throwing my hands up and doing that. Just calm down. Just chill out, man. You're at home. What's the problem? Our manager weren't doing none of that. First game, first NLD. You're not getting excited because he knows his team. He knows his team. That for me shows exactly the level. Arteta, when he's winning stuff and he's doing all the rest of it, he comes out in the press and he's all like, yeah, with his black hair, with his Grecian 2000. He's like, yeah. But as soon as he gets a bit rattled, this is now going to be, because he's got a load of injuries, rattled. We'll see.
Yeah, 100%. Let's rattle them even more. I can't wait to do them at our place. It's going to be so good. Cool. We are done then, guys. We have Liverpool on Saturday, and I'm going. I'm so excited because I haven't been to the ground in a while. I'm feeling pretty nervous, but you reckon we're going to take it? Is that what you're thinking?
I'll wipe the sweat off my brow. I've got a bit of sweat on my brow. Yeah, I do. I've seen us play Liverpool in the last few years.
When was the last time we beat them? 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
I can't remember now, but there was a couple of games back to back where we played them home and away, but they were very, very good games. I think we got 2 draws in that season, and we came back, and that was when we had shite managers. So as I said, Liverpool have a way of playing. Defensively, I don't think they're good enough.
They're struggling this season a bit defensively, I think.
They've got this way that they've got Trent Alexander playing in this role where he drops into the centre back position. Yeah. I think Ange's got that sussed already. And I just think if Liverpool come to our place and they want to do attack via attack, they've got good attackers, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're strong enough in midfield. Stronger than us in midfield, should I say. So Bozlai's a good player. So is McAllister. But McAllister's good, defensively...
Yeah. Well... I mean, this is I am feeling more positive about going into this game for the first time in a long time since we've had a Liverpool fixture. So, yeah, anything could happen, really. We are at home.
A win's gonna happen, Jodie. That's what's gonna happen.
I'll phase it into the universe. Let's take this win.
Be good in your household.
Yeah, it might be a quiet ride home. But yeah, so you think we're going to win? Anything else you want to say about that game, or we're going to win it? I think Salah's
Liverpool game
right now, so I don't know. I think it's going to be tough, but I think we'll see it. We'll hopefully draw it. Maybe win.
It's a tough game because it's Liverpool. At the end of the day, they've got that caliber. They've got the 17 games unbeaten now. I think it is since last season. Yeah. So yeah, they've got the right to come into ours being confident. But again, watching their games, they haven't clicked in the first half for a lot of them. They've had moments where it's like been okay. Even in the West Ham game, apparently I haven't seen all of the highlights yet, but apparently West Ham did stick it in. They had a couple of opportunities they could have taken, and it might have been different. And remember, they played at Anfield, so I'm confident. I'm confident now.
What David's saying, don't forget some of our players are very close to 5 bookings, suspensions, so we need to be careful. To be very careful, I think.
The other question for us, is there any... No, I don't know if there is. Is it the week after? There's no European football this week, is there?
That was last week, I
don't
think.
think so.
Wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any this week. No, okay, fair enough.
Well, we don't. Yeah, it doesn't bother us, does it?
No bloke.
Anything you want to talk about before we wrap up today? Anything coming up?
The usual shows are coming up this week. Talking points, hopefully Thursday. I know we've been doing it on a Friday. It's just practicalities of
Just
trying
availability,
to do it on
isn't
Thursday.
it?
Yeah, and availability, practicalities, all the rest of it. So Thursday stroke Friday, probably be Thursday this week. And obviously a preview show for the Liverpool game, reaction show for the Liverpool game. And obviously the main show, the main event, the Judge Jodi reaction. What's the Judge
Liverpool
Jodi?
play Carabao Cup on Wednesday. There you go. Straight from the...
Dude, they won't be playing kids in that though, so I can't see that.
Whereas Spurs have the whole week to prep, so yeah. We're gonna take it. We're gonna take them.
Oh, Tad's in the house, is he? Okay. All right. Okay, that's what. Okay. Yeah. Don't make excuses now, fam. About you got the week to prepare. Don't watch that. You're supposed to be big bad Liverpool, didn't you? I want to hear that.
All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for being here this evening and watching along. We had so many of you in the house tonight, as always. David Clark, tricky one, Ash, thank you for joining us live, Ash. So good to see you, buddy. Chris, we got a new person in the house today. I want to give you a little shout out. Eddie Ryan, thank you, Eddie. As always, you're a lovely regular. San Antonio Hotspur. Epistemic Auto Crazy. Thank you for being here. Chuck us a like and a subscribe if you would be so kind.
Make sure you do. Complicated name, but put yourself on that subscribe
Put yourself in there. And Tad predicts, as always, thank you. We're going to smash you this weekend, but thank you so much for being here. Cool. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for this week. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we wrap up?
No, I think Spurs did all the talking at the weekend.
Yeah, it's good to be a Spurs fan right now. Very positive vibes around the place. We're all happy. Nothing's going to bring us down. We're just going to keep smiling and keep moving forward. All right, guys.
That's the good thing. We're confident. At least we can go into games confident of how we're going to play.
100%. All right, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.